Greetings and welcome to the 2020 MHSAA Officials Awards Program. I'm Brent Rice and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our virtual awards presentation. In the next 25 minutes, we'll acknowledge some of our legacy officials, present our 20, 30, 40, 45, and 50-year service recipients, as well as our Vern Norris Award winner for this year. We'll start with acknowledging our legacy officials. In 2019-20, we had 148 high school students get a jump start on their officiating careers as part of this program. And we'd like to give recognition to some of this year's graduating seniors. Each year, one graduating senior in the Legacy program is presented with a college scholarship in memory of Randy Paulson, a longtime registered official and Legacy mentor. This year's recipient is Mariah McLeod of Bear Lake High School. Mariah herself is a three-sport athlete and plans on continuing to officiate basketball while attending Northern Michigan University, where she plans on studying in the medical field. One of the features of our program every year is having our 20 to 50-year award recipients in attendance introduce themselves, preceded by a brief video retrospective of their first year in officiating. So let's introduce this year's honorees and take a look at what was happening in the world back then, starting with our 20-year award class.
Victory for MSU. Michigan State's men's basketball team defeats Florida in the NCAA title game in Indianapolis for the second national crown in the school's history.
Now you can bet an onside kick, John.
Yep, here it comes.
Look out! They got it! Oh my! Grant Lynch has the football!
In one of the most exciting finishes to an MHSAA football final, Grant Lynch scores twice in the final 2 minutes, pulling off a successful onside kick to claim the Division I championship at the Pontiac Silverdome over Utica Eisenhower.
Unbelievable!
14-0. Marysville won last year's final, by the way, 15-5, 15-0. And here we go!
Marysville ran its volleyball winning streak to 192 matches in 2000, and though that streak, which is still a national record, was broken, the Vikings went on to take a fourth consecutive state title, part of a winning streak that ran to a national record of 8 consecutive championships.
Class B titles in a row.
Dominating the big screen in 2000 was How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Castaway, and Mission Impossible 2. On the ever-growing television screen, the first high-definition broadcast of a major sporting event took place with the 2000 Super Bowl. But a lot of eyeballs were also on the tube later that year when 52 million viewers watched the first season finale of the reality show Survivor, where Richard Hatch won the $1 million prize. The hot Christmas gift in 2000 was the Sony PlayStation 2, and the fourth book in the Harry Potter series was published, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And here are some of our 20-year recipients that we're honoring.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Home Alone captured our attention on the movie screen in 1990, with Macaulay Culkin thwarting the efforts of two bungling petty thieves at Christmas time.
Heads up! Don't worry, Marv, I'll get him for you.
Yes.
That way, if Thomas beats his man, someone will have to pick him up. There's the pick out. Vinnie Johnson with 1 second to go. His shot is good! With 7/10 of a second. Timeout, Portland.
How about those bad boys? Vinnie the Microwave Johnson hits the game winner with 0.7 seconds remaining in the contest to give the Detroit Pistons a 92-90 victory over Portland in Game 5 of the 1990 NBA Finals and a second straight title for the Motor City.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hey, what's happening, Norm?
Well, it's a dog-eat-dog world, Sammy, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear.
The television ratings were led by a Thursday night comedy block on NBC with Cheers, the #1 rated show. The hot Christmas gift in 1990 was the Super Mario World video game. In an effort to make its operating system resemble that of its rival Apple, Microsoft introduced Windows 3.0 in 1990. For the first time since the 1930s, the MHSAA boys basketball finals did not take place on a college campus. Instead, at the newly built Palace of Auburn Hills, which hosted the games from 1990 to 1993, drawing record crowds. And Sue, the best preserved Tyrannosaurus Rex specimen ever found, is discovered in Faith, South Dakota. And here are some of our 30-year recipients being honored this year.
The excitement, the tension building. The Olympic Center filling to capacity. I'm sure there are a lot of people in this building who do not know the difference between a blue line and a clothesline. It's irrelevant.
You can't talk about 1980 without leading off with the miracle on ice. The U.S. men's ice hockey team, a bunch of college kids with a passionate coach in Herb Brooks, upset the heavily favored Russian squad in the semifinals and went on to win the gold medal at Lake Placid. But you also have to talk about the millions of eyeballs that tuned in to the TV soap opera Dallas to settle the question, who shot J.R.?
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
The Blues Brothers, Jim Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, had us dancing in the aisles of movie theaters in 1980. Our favorite video arcade game in 1980 was Pac-Man. And if that didn't drive you crazy, trying to figure out the Rubik's Cube did. And how did we ever get anything done before Post-it notes came onto the scene in 1980? Mean Joe Green was anything but in this classic 1980 Coca-Cola commercial. And everybody in 1980 was reading the official Preppy Handbook, declaring the inalienable right of every man, woman, and child to wear khakis. On the basketball courts in 1980, Eric Turner of Flint Central set a Michigan high school single-season game record for assists with 25 en route to a season record of 341. The Livonia Ladywood girls basketball team pulled down an average of 68.9 rebounds per game in 1980, which is still a national high school basketball record. And yes, it was Kristen Shepard who shot J.R. Ewing, but he dropped the charges when he found out she was having his baby. And here are some of our 40-year recipients being honored this year. The movie screens in 1970 gave us military opposites. George C. Scott starred in the World War II biography of General George S. Patton, which took an Oscar for Best Picture. And we got introduced to the hijinks of Hawkeye Pierce and Trapper John McIntyre in MASH, which soon hit the television screen for an 11-year run. In 1975, the first movie of the summer blockbusters had us all being afraid of going out to the beach and into the water, Jaws. On the gridiron in 1970, the old American Football League and the National Football League began play as one, with three teams, the Baltimore Colts, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, making the move to join the existing AFL teams in the new American Football Conference. And 1970 gave us Monday Night Football, which became a weekly tradition in our living rooms. The 1975 football season saw the introduction of the MHSAA playoffs, involving 16 teams in a 2-week tournament, highlighted by Ishpeming's upset of the mighty Hudson Tigers in the Class C title game in Mount Pleasant, which broke the then national record winning streak of 72 games. Two musical breakups occurred in 1970. Art Garfunkel and Paul Simon went their separate ways. And the Fab Four, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, the Beatles, also split. Their final respective albums, Bridge Over Troubled Waters and Let It Be, turned out to be bestsellers. The 1975 World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds was one for the ages. How many of us stayed awake into the night to watch Game 6, where Carlton Fisk's walk-off home run in the 12th inning capped what many consider to be the finest World Series game of all time? The 1970 MHSAA basketball tournament had a bittersweet ending. Bob Hooks cans a jumper for Flint Holy Redeemer to give the Flyers the Class D title as time expired in the last game in the school's history. Holy Redeemer would merge with several other Flint schools the next year to form Flint Powers Catholic. A loaf of bread in 1970 was 25 cents. A first-class postage stamp was 6 cents. And the cost of a gallon of gas was 36 cents. And here are some of our 45 and 50-year recipients being honored this year.
The Vern L. Norris Award is presented annually to a veteran official who has been active in a local officials association, has mentored other officials, and has been involved in officials education. It is named after Vern L. Norris, who served as executive director of the MHSAA from 1978 to 1986, and was well respected by officials on the state and national levels. This year's recipient is Hugh Matson of Saginaw. Hugh first registered in 1970-71 to officiate track and field and cross country. He has been a member of the Association of Track Officials of Michigan for over 25 years and was previously honored by the MHSAA with its highest honor, the Charles E. Forsyth Award. You can read more on Hugh Matson on the MHSAA website, and we'll honor Hugh with his award at the 2021 Officials Awards and Alumni Banquet. I'd like to thank you for watching, and to wrap things up, here's a few words from our Executive Director, Mark Ewell.
2020 has certainly been historic, and we appreciate you being involved in this very historic Officials and Alumni online banquet. I'd like to leave you today with this thought, that those of us who have been involved in athletics, who have been officials, who have been the referees, the umpires, the judges, you have been appreciated more than ever before. 2020 has really taught us to give a new perspective on things, to really know what's important, and that is certainly faith in family and our health. During these strange days, we're hoping that everyone can really reflect on what has been important to them. And as we get back to some sense of normalcy soon, that school sports will continue to be a big part in each of our lives. Thank you for all that you have done for the MHSAA, and thank you for what you'll continue to do. All of us need to be very, very flexible moving forward, and when it is safe to play again, I'm hoping that all of us will be ready to go. Thanks for being part of history. While we wish we would have seen you in person back in early May, just know that we congratulate you, we thank you, and let's all stick together and be ready to play once it's safe again. Thanks for all that you do.